Sounds great.
Okay, everyone on Zoom, click through.
All right. So we're back. We're back with the old lady. So welcome. This is Hasbro vintage Jem doll variants. It's dolls and fashions. And I was not able to prepare notes because I got busy with 85 other things. So if I make any stupid mistakes, people, please correct me. So just coming along here, this is my integrity collection. It's not a whole lot, but I do have a few. They're there, and there they are. So when Hasbro began manufacturing the Jem dolls, they were using various factories. The first one, I think, this is kind of conjecture. The designation was H32, and that's on the back of the box. It'll say H32 on the back of the box. And those are the dolls that I used to call Euro because they showed up in Europe a lot, but they were sold other places. So those are your dolls that you're going to find with the ball wrists. So like here's H32 Pizzazz, and she has the exposed ball wrist, and she'll just be there, you can see it. And they also have markings on their backs. She is not going to be a good doll for that, but let's find someone who'd be better. Like Roxy. The H32 dolls, when you find them loose on their backs, will either say made in Hong Kong, all four of those words, or they will have nothing. It just says 1985 Hasbro Inc. and there's no location. So I call those no location dolls. And those were the ones who were packaged in the H32 boxes. So they have a couple of things, like for example, you see this poor Pizzazz and her hair. And Roxy also is just real straight hair, kind of a puff on top. That's pretty typical of them. The later ones made in China have much more rounded hair. We'll see those in the second editions, especially. The Misfits were made, they had the H32s, and then they also had dolls that were made in China, and the factory designation is H22. And so back to the H32s, the dolls that you're going to find in H32 are the 3 original Misfits and the 3 original holograms. So you'll also find made in Hong Kong, no location, Shayna, Aja, and Kimber. And for example, here is I don't remember if she's made in Hong Kong or no location. I think she's made in Hong Kong, feeling through her jacket. And I gave her a haircut because I was that kind of bad Jem fan. But her original haircut was this is the original, that side. It's very short. She's also a little puffy, and she tends to have the very dark eye makeup. She has kind of the darkest eye makeup. And this is if you've ever heard of the white eyeshadow Ajas. They're also H32s. And Shayna, when you get your H32 Shayna, she's actually over here. I'm going to grab her. I am making John Henry work. This one has a haircut. But her hair is a kind of a different texture. And she also frequently has, oh, she's flashing everyone, sorry.
Sorry, Sam.
Zoom gets the bonus there. She frequently has different colored torso and limbs and stuff, and her face is a different color, like it's kind of a duller brown. So a lot of people are like, my Jem doll is different from my friend's Jem doll, and that's why they were made in different factories. So the holograms also had an intermediate kind of factory. There's the China is H22. And that's what you're going to see the second year a lot too. But they also had one which is just the words Hong Kong. Doesn't say made, it just says Hong Kong. They didn't do the Misfits in that room. I don't know why. Probably just you know, strategic stuff, and they probably made more holograms than Misfits. But you will find that the Hong Kong Shaynas and the made in Hong Kong locations have the straight forehead, no widow's peak. And things will fall off because since I don't have cats here, I have to do the embarrassing stuff myself. You get those widow's peaks in the China dolls. Either the first year China dolls, and then the second one's pretty much all have them. And Kimber, you have probably noticed, Kimber has so many makeup variations. Basically, you start with those H32 dolls, the made in Hong Kong no location. They have the darkest makeup. Then the Hong Kong ones kind of have a medium kind of makeup. You get to first year China and it's kind of light. Then you get to second year China and it's really light. I think I have distinguished 5 degrees of Kimber makeup. And second, Kimber also has 2 different hair colors. She can be pinkish or she can be really pinkish. And if you look at most of the dolls, you'll see that they are actually rooted with more than one color of hair. Even if it is supposed to be a solid color, they get the effect through multiple colors. You can see it more with like Clash and Leo. The original Jem Jerica also was in 2 versions. You'll see that she's either China or Hong Kong, and she has various differences. Like her battery pack is a different shape, her switch is different, and she came with 2 different glasses molds and things like that. There were also dolls made in other countries. So most of the dolls that were sold North America, Europe, everywhere else were made in those Chinese and Hong Kong factories, and they got different packaging. They would get the bilingual American French, they would get Italian, they would get this, that. But they were all made in the same place and just packaged differently. But the Spanish dolls are pretty much identical to the China ones, but they say made in Spain in English. So who knows what that's about, but yeah, so she's here. This is Stefan's doll. And so she's an Aja, and she clearly says made in Spain, and here is her box. Verdaderamente fantástica. And she is wearing a prototype matching medleys. So, and everybody's going to be here, you can get a better look. But so the Spanish dolls, you kind of have to look to see if they're Spanish. They don't kind of scream that they're Spanish. Whereas the Mexican dolls, you can kind of see she's a little different. And so this is Mexican Kimber. She was a gift from Stefan. And they do not have a marking. They are, I'm going to flash everybody again. They are a very hard plastic and very shiny. Oh, it's scandalous. There we go. So there she is. She's very shiny and she's just bearing it all. Equality. And they have their own unique shoes, which have their own unique mold. And they barely fit on the doll's feet. And they also have their own unique guitars. And Jacob Williams, brought his Mexican Shayna. So I'm going to show you her, and you can see her guitar because she's really cool. And she's also very different. You can see her here. Look at that guitar. Isn't that gorgeous?
Beautiful color,
that purple glitter. Yeah, so they're kind of in the first year outfits, but they have the second year style glitter guitars. And she's got a white jacket, and her face is a little paler and her skin is a little paler, and they have different hair texture and things like that. So they're very rare. They are easier to find in Europe than the United States. Jacob, Stefan, do you have anything else to say about them?
The shoes are incorrect.
Oh,
Yes.
Travesty.
whoa.
They are in Mexico, but not correct. Yeah.
But it's hard because
They ended up in the UK because Jem was very popular still when Hasbro stopped the toy line, so they shipped all the Mexican dolls to the UK. That's why they pop up in Europe.
And I believe that the reason that they were made in Mexico is just there are different laws in various places. Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Spain.
Yeah.
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 It's like they had to manufacture in their country. Yeah, the main part of the doll has to be produced in Spain, right? Because it's, and I actually opened my Rio Spain, made in Spain, Valencia box to check, because I couldn't believe that they actually made a mold in Spain, and it says made in China.
Well, that's real. That's because they're all made in Hong Kong.
Oh, Hong Kong maybe.
Okay,
but
yeah.
not Spain.
Yeah, I was like,
Not Spain.
oh, yeah.
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 And in Mexico, they didn't even produce Rio as far as we know. So,
Oh. Oh.
But with the Spanish dolls, the big difference is the shoes.
Yeah, they're
They're
squishy.
squishy. They're kind of like music is magic shoes.
Yeah, I don't have any, but you can tell the difference between squishy shoes and non-squishy shoes. So why don't we kind of move in a little bit and let everybody kind of see some of the dolls. And I will be in this room most of the time if you have any questions. And I should point out that my Blaze doll is a custom that I have still not finished rerouting. So she has a stylish headband and she has a knockoff guitar. But we have some of the variant Jem and Jacob boxes. Jacob brought in those. I've got my second year Pizzazz and Stormer. And if you're looking for an easy way to tell a first and second year China misfit apart, the easiest way is to buy them in the box. But if you are really trying, a lot of the second year dolls have a noticeably paler face. So if they have a really kind of darkish face, that's probably a first year doll. But the only difference really is the guitar they come with. And there are some other differences that I really want to talk about, but I think I'm going to leave them for a little bit later. And you'll notice that I haven't really talked about second year dolls having variants because they were all pretty much made in one factory in one run. So there are some slight makeup differences, like Clash can have a darker bit of eyeshadow here and there. And there are makeup differences between the different factories, like H32, Hong Kong, China. Kimber is the most drastic, but the other ones have a little, it's like this bit of the eyeshadow goes up this far on this one and only to here on this one. If you are really, really interested in any particular doll, come and ask me. So the next thing we want to talk about is the fashions.
Liz, should we wait for questions till the end? Because people are asking stuff on Zoom. Or do you want to, as we go, I can always wait.
Doll questions right now. Yeah, so only doll questions.
Yeah, one is about, do you have a website? Two people asked if you have a website cataloging all of this that we could
I
visit.
do not. Prancitron has done a certain amount of this, so I would first go to Prancitron. I'm old school, and I am building documents, trying to get pictures and stuff like that. But it just takes a while. I specifically do have documents being very, so the China and Hong Kong, because they were at the same factory, the fashions will be a little bit different. Like the misfits especially, you can tell there's different patterns, there's different fabrics. If you look at my first edition misfits who are out on the table versus their second edition. And I have documents for those that I'm going to post after JemCon. So that's as close as we get to a website for me, is Word documents turned into PDFs. So I am sorry.
They're very good though. They're actually very good.
Thank you.
And someone else asked about if you know about the graphics doll and anybody knows anything about the origins of the graphics prototype. I figured Brian would be the person.
It's like Hasbro was creating it for the 1988 line as a misfit. She was actually, that was a jacket that she was in, not a turtleneck, as we all have thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, so her and the new dress, like the red dress pizzazz, were designed by the same designer, and those were her first two Jem designs. She was hired to design Jem, but only prototype fashions till that point.
But never made it to production.
But those, yeah, so her first two and only two Jem designs never made it to production. Because they ended up canceling the Misfits before they ended up canceling the line.
Okay.
But
And now back to Jem.
Yeah.
Actually, I told you to line up in kindergarten one time. Why don't you come, some of you come around here too. Just kind of even yourselves out so you can see a little bit better because I'm feeling guilty. So, the onstage fashions and the first year flip side fashions, by which I mean the ones that were specifically released in the first year. Some of them were repeated in second year, and that's a whole other level of complexity. But the first year ones were all made in China. I mean, all the fashions were made in China, but they also have a designation H22 or H44. And so, for example, this is our H44 Dancing the Night Away. It has what I call the thin-sided pumps and the fishnet hose that are the most well-known. This is our H22. It has thick-sided pumps in a slightly different color and fishnet hose. And not fishnet, lace. And both of those are displayed on dolls over here so you can see the tights in better detail. And yeah, we don't know. These are both first year. This one was only first year, so this is not a reissue kind of issue. But they apparently just had two production lines going, whether it was separate factories, I don't know. But there is that kind of difference. So every single first year on stage fashion has two official shoes. At minimum, that is the difference. So there will be a thin-sided and a thick-sided. Some of them also have tights variants, some of them have slight garment variants, but all of them have a shoe variant. Only the beginning, which I will pick up here, has the gold chrome shoes. So there are two molds. This is thick-sided. The thick-sided ones are all silver lined. There's also a thin-sided mold, which I don't have out here, but I've got in my shoebox that you can look at later. There are like 4 different kinds of shoes. They're easy to identify. They're the gold straight-sided pumps. But if you're trying to match singles, you can go for quite some time and not match singles. There's an all gold thin-sided. There's a gold with a silver lining. So this is, even though it's very easy to identify what it is, if you're collecting loose, it can be a challenge to match stuff up. Another one that has lace tights is Command Performance here. So the regular ones are these kind of ribbed ones, and then there's also fishnets, and these are different than Encore. They are definitely an aqua that matches the dress and not the light blue. And she's wearing my 2005 JemCon necklace that's stretchy and can be a hair accessory for you. And I bought this Kimber 2016, 2017. She's also wearing one. And I didn't recognize the name of the seller, so someone sold their JemCon necklace and it traveled around and came back to me. So yeah, all of these have some level of variation. I think that Twilight in Paris, I'm going to leave these here because I've already flashed it on chest. Everybody's flashing it now. I'm going to show you their other. But I'll start with the socks. So the 2 different productions, one is a left and one is a right. They are different fabrics, like this is very pink and this is very purple. The heart is sewn on either under the ribbon or way down below. So that's a variation that's available. I don't know at this, well, I probably do know, but I don't remember which is H22, which is H44. But that's easy to see in the package. And then the actual underwear is different fabric too. These are different than Shayna's, but you have the really light pink and then kind of the purple, and they kind of map to their socks. And the dress, basically the difference with the dress is the direction in which the little scallop shell is sewn on. Not a major difference. It's the kind of thing that can just happen between 2 different people on the line, but it is something to look at. So yeah, all of the first years have 2 different shoes. And then the flip sides do the same thing. So for example, we have here Music in the Air. On my left hand is H44, my right hand is H22.
probably the easiest thing to see here is that the shirts are different fabric. I've only ever seen this one. It's very thin, it's kind of soft, it's not shiny. And then the one that I have several of is kind of shiny and it's a stiffer fabric. You can't really see the shoes, but yeah, there are two different kinds of music computer shoes. And I have those in my shoebox. I thought there were like 6 different kinds of Stormer shoes, and then I found out that half of them are thick music and gear. So there's some fabric stuff like Up and Rockin' comes with either this nice thin transparent yellow, and that is the H22, and the H44 has almost opaque. I mean, it's still Georgette, but it's just a different thing. The same thing with Like a Dream. There are 2 different sheer fabrics over there. Both sheer, they're just slightly different. One's paper. All of these come with 2 different shoes. That's where you get the thick sandal molds. I'm sorry, I'm making it impossible for you to follow me. But so for example, here with Sophisticated Lady, my hat, you've got either these, what is it? I don't remember which is which anymore. There's thick and thin, and they're different colors and they're different molds. So all of the sandals you're going to find in 2 variations, and all the books you're going to find in 2 variations. And any of the, and then also Sophisticated Lady, along with
Moroccan Magic down there, either has kind of a true blue lame there or kind of a lighter aqua one. And the true blue is the H44, so the aqua is the H22. It's not a huge thing. It's just that, you know, this production line ordered some blue lame, and they were allowed to order, you know, blue number 1 and blue number 2, and they got blue number 1, and these guys got blue number 2. It was kids' toys. Who cared? Yeah, the Jerica dress, in addition to the Mexican one, which is really, really wide stripes.
No, I did from the fashion. Yeah.
For this one, for
Yeah.
Sophisticated
Yeah.
Lady.
Yeah.
Oh, the blouse?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I haven't found that one yet.
2 different colors.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I have tried to collect stuff, but I haven't managed to get everything yet because money. There's, if you look, there's all sorts of stuff. So, for example, the J's on the belt between the 2 versions are different. One of them is thinner. One of them is thicker and a little kind of slanted. It's hard to see, but the necklaces are a different mold. One has a flat back, one has 3 little circles. Sophisticated Lady, the colors are pretty different. You can see this is a very light color. That's a more dark color. And all of their glasses come in 2 molds. I have the glasses over here. And I'll show online. So the H22 have kind of a V in the nose. You're going to have to come up and see these. You won't be able to see them here. And then the other ones have a rounded kind of U. That's the H44s. And the way to tell the pink glasses apart, it's also very simple, and it's the same thing as the second Misfits. You buy the fashion, never remove from box, and take it out, because the pink dye is, it fades and changes color and stuff. So I have several pairs of pink that don't match any of the stuff that came out of the boxes because the pink has died. And yeah. The blues and the yellows and the purples are a little more stable. And it also, unfortunately, happens with the second year glasses. The pink ones just change color. So it was very sad. Yeah, and like the jumpsuits in Like a Dream. One of them has legs that have a seam only on the inside. One of them has legs with seams on the inside and the outside. So a 4-piece leg or 2-piece leg. Don't know why. They just decided in one, you know, they changed the pattern between production lines. Excuse me. I have a document coming out on This one, getting down to business, because there's a lot of differences. There's 2 different dresses. The jackets are different. The lace is different. The lace on Like a Dream on the socks is different and matches the lace on Getting Down to Business's dress. It doesn't, you know, it's all, if you've got the fashion and you're happy with the fashion, that's great. If you're really interested in obscure stuff, it's so cool to see all this. Anyway, okay, so variants in second year. The things that I have found are, there is a variant in the tabard of Running Like the Wind. So when you buy your 2 copies of Running Like the Wind, because everybody can do that, if you're lucky, you'll find, and I can't remember, it's like the lining of the neckband.
There's gold.
Yeah, so mine is white, and they also come with the gold. And that's probably, they ran out of the white and just used some gold. Because again, children's toys, who cares? The other variation I have found is She Makes an Impression shoes. Goodbye hat. They come in either the thin kind that all the other ones come in, or thick. And I've got this pair that has one of each, and it's hard to see, but we'll try and show zoom. So we got thick and thin, and they're nothing else. They are nothing else. They're definitely She Makes an Impression, but they use 2 molds for some reason.
From the same factory.
Yeah, from the same factory. Who even knows? I mean, maybe the one mold broke and they said, do we have another scallop mold? And they grabbed that one. They sent it over from the other, I don't know, who even knows? Maybe we'll find out one day.
Sure.
Thank you. But until then, it is a mystery, just like the Loch Ness Monster. Except that these shoes are real.
I think Lightning Strike has the same thing working. The 2.
Yes. So I told you about all of the first year on stages, including Permanent Wave, have thick and thin shoes. So Permanent Wave has darkish colored, thin orange shoes. And sometimes they're packaged in Lightning Strikes, except it's one true Lightning Strikes shoe and one Permanent Wave shoe. Now, how can I tell the difference? Well, remember H32? I'm going to grab a shoebox real quick. Sorry, I'm gonna run over halter. So there is a mold which I call Euro because I've been doing this way too long. Things were different then. It is its own mold. It is used for the H32 dolls and for We Can Change It, Lightning Strikes, and Running Like the Wind in a different plastic. Who even knows? But it is a different mold, and so Lightning Strikes, mine, came with this, and so did Prancitron's, 2 different shoes of different molds. How? Did they have them? Did they sweep up? Who even knows? But that can happen. And so you have your official dispensation from me, the shoe queen, to put Permanent Wave shoes on your loose Lightning Strikes because it's official.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. And you can come and look at the shoes later to be very sure. I want to get you out of here on time. There are a couple, there's not so much variation. There is a little bit in the Smash and Fashions. Oh, and that's the metallics. And that's where you can see all the different molds and colors of only the beginning. But probably the best well-known variant is in We're Off and Running here. So there's the kind of, these are not very neon-y, and in fact, they're a little bit peachy. Mine have kind of gone to yellow, but you can see the peachy stitching on the back. And then there's these awesome neon orange lace ones, and I just got her. And there's also the backs of the collars can either be white or purple, although the rest of it looks exactly the same. And again, these were made in the same factory. Who even knows? Kids' toys, who cares?
Do you think it's possible that some of the variants had to do with them trying to cut costs? Like, I know they changed the packaging because of costs, like later on in the toy line.
I mean, I doubt it because, you know, they were changing packaging between products. This is the same product. What I would guess happened with this is that, I mean, I think that the card shows the orange. What I imagine is they did a run with the orange and then they couldn't get that fabric again. And so they said, what have we got on hand? Well, this will look fine. It's a kid's toy. Who cares? But yeah, you're right. They did, especially for the third year that didn't get released. You saw, you know, first you had the rock and curl box that's very simple and very small, and that's where they were going for that year. But for individual products, I think it's much more factory shortages, things like that. Okay, we've got some more of Jacob's dolls over here. It's cool. What do we got? Dutch?
Yeah, that looks like Dutch.
Yeah. So we have some, yeah, that's definitely Dutch. We have some of the foreign boxes to look at. We've got Rio in the French box. And let's see, variants. Some of the play sets have some variants. Isn't that exciting? The rock backstager accessories can be dark pink or light pink. So you might find different sets. And the logo on the Star Stage. Now, Star Stage was released both years. All of the first year play sets were released the second year. I'm not going to take this one off, but I will hold it up. There's one that goes into pink and one that goes into purple. And I don't know, who knows? I mean, it's a label, they could have printed it. Who even knows? But it's cool. And there's two, and there they are. The other playset variation is way over there with the video magics. The tambourines in whichever one that is, the glitter yellow tambourines can be kind of all sorts of colors. And I think I've got 3 out there that are different colors. They get more orangey and more clear. Let's see. Oh, and glitter and gold line, Moroccan magic. I've put one on Stormer and one on Aja to highlight the differences in the colors. It's that same thing from Sophisticated Lady, blue number 1, blue number 2, that's more of an aqua. And she's wearing a repro hat, so that's why it doesn't look quite right. I know I have just rushed through this. I'm trying to think if there's anything I have forgotten.
You missed the name of a leather skirt.
Oh yeah. And that is over there in the, yeah, Pizzazz is she's got a sparkly skirt on right now. That's the kind of standard one that's more well known, but it can also be kind of a pleathery fabric.
So Jem had just found in the bottom on the card, let the music play in the we gotta be fast place.
Oh wow.
So it's completely different.
Yeah, that would be fascinating to see. I mean, and that's the kind of thing that sounds like they just ran out of something
exactly.
and threw it in. So
Find something close.
Find something close.
Finish the line.
And I gotta say that Jem was much more standard than Barbie. If you look in my Barbie books over here, Barbie, there's one fashion where he shows 12 different molds. They were just like, we're gonna put yellow footwear in here. Sandals, pumps, boots, you know, it was a kid's toy.
Yeah.
So because we're getting on to the time that I need to stop, questions from the room, and then we'll go to questions from the
this was from a while ago, but I noticed the blue stockings back there. One of them was solid and one of them was scrubbed up. Is that due to age or due to fashion?
Most of our stuff is in pretty good, which
I can show you.
yeah. Thank you everyone for putting up with being all over the room. These ones. Oh yeah, that's a different fabric.
It's
So
just, okay.
so you can see that that's
It's-
lace.
yeah,
And this is a
'cause
whole.
Oh, those are flowers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that looked like I couldn't see so well from
Oh,
back
it's
there.
okay. It's hard. I mean, it's small stuff. And you're
Excellent.
across the room. Yeah, that's just the 2 different, like this one here, you see the fishnets, and then that one has, because they did 2 different versions of each.
Brian, someone's asking about the Rama Llama in the case.
Yes, that is the Paint Master.
the paint master of the
Yes.
actual Llama Llama. So
Yes,
that was a
Llama.
question from
It's-
online.
Okay, yeah, why don't we take, Brian's stuff is down at the end, so suddenly it's Brian's class. Go.
We can change it in real time.
We're flexible.
So yeah, so
I'm
the,
sorry.
the llama is the paint master, which there was 3 of them made. One of them stayed at Hasbro, and then the other 2 went to the factory so that they could reproduce it. Mostly so that so the factory could see like what to do with the eyes and stuff. So the 2 from the factory were probably destroyed after they were used.
Right.
This is the one that was actually kept in the archive at Hasbro.
Wow.
So, and the same for, it says ruby red Jem, but really that's glitter and gold. They actually sent the head to Asia, to China to with a green makeup, so that way Mattel would not know that gold was the theme. So then I've also got a couple of the Superstar. They were always known as Craig Phillips, but really it's Rio 87 head, which I'm guessing the head was smaller than they wanted, so they ended up going with the original 1986 head for the doll. But it became Rob.
Yeah,
Became Rob from Maxi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
That's
smaller
why
head
he's
worked
here.
better.
Anything else you want to say about any of these things?
So of
How
course,
much time do we have left?
you'll recognize this prototype that came from Carly Hoff's estate, and she was the designer for the dress. And these are a few more things that were in her estate. So like these dresses have no idea what they are exactly.
So she
And
just
they
worked on, this is Rock and Rose's fabric?
Yeah,
or no?
so that was a matching melody. Would have been one of the pieces from the 1988 line, and it also has the belt with it. That was also part of one of those accessory packs.
Everyone's freaking out on Zoom. It's awesome. Any other questions in the room for Liz or for Brian?
Or for Stefan?
For
So
Stefan.
there's also variations to the tights for the dolls, like Stormer.
Oh, yeah,
lace
Stormer's
tights.
lace tights.
Yeah, and Jem.
Yeah.
Jem.
Jem had she has her normal white ones, but she also came with kind of pink sparkly ones that are sort of like glitter and gold and flash and sizzle. And those are specifically Star Cap first year Jerica Gems. I have kind of glossed over those because I'm writing documents. And those will go in more detail, but it's easier to see. So we will get that going eventually. And
Roxy's pants.
Roxy's, yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot of
variations.
variations of Roxy's pants, and that fabric was very popular. And so you're gonna find random fashion, little skirts and little outfits with Roxy pants material. And we'll show you in the glitter and gold class, the knockoff class tomorrow. The glitter and gold lace got used a lot specifically in the Toxie stuff and in different colors, in silver and stuff. So, as I said, I'm here all weekend. Thank you very much, Brian, for being put on the board. Thank you. And now we've got other classes, and I don't have a schedule in my hand, so I don't know what they are.
So I can say from the schedule that Jessica's holding, Back in Shape resin casting with Tibia is going to be live in person in the ballroom, and then Only Me music discussion with Garth. It's going to be broadcast on Zoom, and that starts in 10 minutes.
Awesome.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Liz. That was awesome. Okay, Jacob.
Oh, the French roast.
Yeah, this is actually in French. And my French Canadian Rio over there actually came with an English and a French post. His bottom was already open, so I decided to take it out. But this one is in French, yeah.
And we had in 2019, we had Ruth Bush, who was the designer who did the layout for that poster.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all kinds of fun JemCon guests over there.
Cool. Okay, I'm going off Zoom, people. See you soon.